Yeah. I mean, has the recording started? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Dr. Murtuza, for introducing me, and also before that, I would like to thank all the people responsible for this presentation at the Safi Hospital conference room. Namely, first of all, my best friend Smita Nair, who motivated me to set out from my comfort zone in my clinic, which is just below my house, and where I was practicing, or I am still practicing since 25 years. I do go to charitable clinics, but that's my main stay of practice. And her friend, Mr. Ram, who is been here since 25 years, and with his association with Masood and Tasneem Kiraluwala, they have been instrumental in spreading the word and helping me, with my presentation and getting me here, which I'm very grateful to. So without further ado, and of course the universe. So it is all God's will that I'm here during COVID times when my country has literally stopped all international flights from Mumbai to any part of the world except for 22 countries. And since it's God's will, that Tanzania was one of the 22 countries which flights were allowed to. So I have, in spite of all precautions and warnings and forewarnings and threats, I have come to this place, but I found it a very beautiful country and a very safe place, and the people are very helpful, and I hope that this presentation makes sense. It brings about a little awareness about health and what you can do to gain or regain health back. So as they say, health is the responsibility of oneself. You go to the doctor, but ultimately it is the patient who has to take steps and efforts to become healthy again. The doctor just puts in a little effort, a little push. So the medicines are not going to heal you. The medicines are a force from outside, but ultimately it is your efforts to become healthy again which will complete the task, and it's God's will after all. Okay? So without now, as my introduction is over, let us go to the presentation. So first presentation will be concepts about holistic health. So what is health? Can anyone tell me? There are I think 8 doctors here and maybe 7 medical people, but 11 non-medical people. So if the non-medical people tell me about health, I'll be very happy. Because you all know disease, right? But you don't know what is health. It's like, you know what is not required by the body, but you don't know what is required by the body. The doctors can tell me also, they're all well qualified, postgraduates, more experienced than me. Anyone? Dr. Murtuza, Dr.
Hussain.
Hussain.
Complete well-being of
It is a state of physical, mental and social well-being.
Wonderful. Okay. So I just want to add one more element, where people don't want to talk about it because they think it's unscientific. Spiritual well-being. Because this hospital is basically started by a religious and spiritual core, So more spiritual with the intention of holistic health. So, besides going to spiritual detail, let's see what physical, mental and social well-being is.
Move the mic because it's
echoing?
Yeah, echoing.
Okay, fine. So, can everyone hear me behind or? Fine. So, as he said, rightly said, physical, mental and social well-being. Can you put it on the slideshow?
This is on Diksha.
No,
Okay.
for the HTML.
I'll use this. Okay. So now, the first letters are interactive. So, I'm not going to do the whole show, okay? This is not a one-man show. It's a show between you and me. We are going to interact. We are going to ask each other, freely, any questions, and tell me how I can help you. It's all about me helping you, you helping me. I learn, you learn. Win-win situation. Okay? Now, there's this whole concept that modern medicine takes care of all health problems, which is not the answer. It is never there. From the beginning, traditional medicines and therapies have always been there before modern medicine even came into practice. But now they're ignored because modern medicine is the big daddy. But if you really look at it, modern medicine can treat emergencies very well, accidents very well, but when it comes to long-term chronic problems, acute problems, COVID-19, nothing. HIV, nothing. But complementary, so-called complementary medicines can treat most of these disorders. Because it's very simple. Whatever is based on the nature or natural order of things will always help you to heal. Whatever is very complex, depending upon drug interactions, will have side effects and they are not proved as yet. For example, a vaccine coming out after 3 months, we don't know what it will do after 3 years. You can be paralyzed, you can lose your eyesight, you can do anything. But it's the government forcing it. Of course, you have the right to refuse anything because it's your body. Okay? But what I meant to say is that traditional medicine, holistic medicine is the answer. We have to integrate modern medicine with holistic medicine, make it holistic. Let there be a holistic doctor, a holistic approach, which is very important. And for that, you have to understand, besides the physical aspect, the disease the patient is coming to you, if you ask the patient a simple question, why have you come to me? Has any doctor asked that? Okay? I mean, physical problem, but why has the patient come to you? There are so many doctors, there are so many orthopedic surgeons. Why have they come to you? Have they been told by their family that this doctor is very good, he's treated me? Or so that patient has a reason coming to you. But we never ask. You and I don't ask sometimes. I just feel, what's your name, what's your this, what's your problem? So remember, the person has an outlook. He feels, I want to come to this doctor because this doctor is going to heal me, cure me. But the doctor doesn't always have the solution. As I said, there is always the patient requires one healer or couple of healers or doctors to make him alright. Until they find the correct doctor, the treatment is on, but the patient is not cured. So when I did my studies, I found out that homeopathy is based on nature's law of cure and it has a holistic approach, mind, body, soul. I tell you why. Because remember, if your mind and body are in sync, then you can achieve your goal of your life, your mission of your life. Okay? But if your mind and body are at constant conflicts, no mission achieved. And then there are problems, physical problems, emotional problems, intellectual problems, every sort of problem, financial problems, social problems, relationship problems, and know what you, okay? So, let us think that mind is something which is the key to man. How will I differentiate one person from the other? Tell me. Physical characteristics. But if you have malaria, he has malaria, how will you differentiate? Tell me. How can one malarial patient with malaria be differentiated from 20 other patients in the same ward with malaria? Anybody has the answer? Don't tell me the name and age and where they live and the telephone number.
Mosquitoes.
And the mosquitoes, anything. But tell me the reason. If anyone comes to the answer,
How is the body immunity depends from one to the other?
Now tell me.
It's the
I don't
symptoms.
want concepts, I want real practical answers.
Which is comorbid.
Yes, come. Very good. Stand up. Yeah, tell me. No. So for the medical profession, malaria is malaria. It has a specific protocol of treatment. Once that is done, it's over. If it doesn't do, then you take the second protocol of treatment. Complicated cases will have that. But no, this person is not other different from the treatment. If each person is an individual, should you have individual treatment or should you have common treatment? Tell me. So who's giving individual treatment?
Holistic approach.
No, this holistic approach is all bullshit. Tell me who is giving individual treatment. Anybody of the medical doctors here are giving individual treatment? You can tell me how. I'm willing to understand because I feel that just I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just making you aware because I was like that once upon a time. But homeopathy taught me that each person on earth is unique. God has created us uniquely. The only thing we have which is common is, what is common? Huh? What is common? Our soul. Our soul is that energy which is focused and is there in everyone. It's God's energy which is there in you. It's all one. Okay? That's why we are all God's children, as you put it, created by the Creator, etc. So, soul energy is same. Physical, mind, emotions, intellect, heart, everything separate, different all the time. If you find two people exactly identical in all these respects, please let me know. I love to see them. I like to understand why they're so similar, why they're so close. They be close but not the same. They be similar but not the same. Okay? So the effect of, there is these effects on the body. There's always a physical effect, the emotional effect. That means I'm affected by, for example, physical. Okay, so maybe my muscular force, or the food that I eat, or the clothes that I wear, or the climate of the country that I'm in, or allergies, okay, or the emotion things. If somebody hurts me, people say I'm hurt very easily, I'm sensitive to insult, I'm sensitive to my marks in college. Emotion. Okay? Emotion means energy in motion. Okay? Your energy, which is emotion, energy is always dynamic. It's not the same, no? Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. Alright? That's life. Then comes intellectual. Intellectual? Everyone knows. Somebody's IQ is up there and somebody's IQ is down here. Okay? And there's everything in between. Okay? Social. How do you interact? Some people are introverts. Okay? They're very good, but they're introverts. Some people are extroverts like me. I love talking, I love interacting, I love joking, I love everything. But an introvert is saying, what nonsense he's talking. So, perception of every individual towards society varies, and society's interpretation towards an individual varies, and that is why everyone is unique. Again, religious, cultural, political, economic, everything, and educational. All these are unique factors which influence our being. Our being mostly the emotional, mental level, and they are responsible for the person you are today and you will be tomorrow until you die. Because your mind is dynamic and your body is dynamic. It is not static. It is not something like a solid object. It's continuously moving, aging, dying, living, everything. And it responds, okay? So, we have all these which are dynamics of a person. Why do I call it dynamics? Dynamics is changeability, variability. In school I was a very introverted person, and gradually as I studied and I realized that I have to interact with patients. If I sit quietly, patient won't say anything to me. I have to gauge, and I can't read minds, I can't read hearts, so I have to talk. And slowly I developed this sort of interaction. Then a good relationship, you mentioned that. Then, of course, the environment. So the cold weather, hot weather, rainy weather, whatever weather. Everyone complains, what's the weather today is very bad. Some people say, wow, sunny weather, hot weather, I love the heat. So some, patients or people complain. And there is something which is known here, is known as P and EI axis. Can anyone tell me what this is? The doctors here can tell me. No? It is known as psycho-neuro-endocrine immunological axis. Now, why is it an axis? It starts with the mind, psycho, neuro, the nervous system in our body, autonomic, the nervous system, the voluntary nervous system, all those nervous system, the nerves, and the endocrine, that is all the hormones in our body, and the immune system, finally, the first guard and the last guard. Can anyone invade or anyone stop? But they are all related. That's why they say positive mind, less disease. Negative mind, depressed person, anxious person, more prone to disease. So remember, the psycho-neuro-endocrine immunological axis is interdependent on each of these factors, but they are also an important aspect of disease, which we normally don't study because our books. So I've studied all medical books, at least when I was studying in college, and every time I would like to know the cause of the disease, the causes are unknown. Cause of the disease will always remain unknown. No, whatever research you do, you will come to some point, and then, why is this? I don't know. It will always remain unknown. But the effect of the diseases are seen. It's always known. So what we do, most people think that malaria is because the parasite through the mosquito has entered the blood and multiplied. But what causes the parasite of the mosquito to enter that person's blood and not the neighbor who the mosquito has bitten 20 times over? Correct? And why? Why are you suffering from diarrhea, eating the same food at the same wedding, same quantity, but I get diarrhea, the other person is fine, he says I enjoyed the food. The other person is criticizing the food. And the doctor says, आपने इतना खाया तो diarrhea हो गया. But that is not, the external factors are not responsible for your disease. Please understand this. Don't blame the weather, your family, your friends, society, or the food you eat or drink, or what work you are doing for illness. What is responsible for illness is nothing but yourself. Because the individual's immune system, the psycho-neuro-endocrine axis, the whole dynamics of the person make the person vulnerable to disease. That's why somebody will have malaria, somebody might have dengue, somebody will have corona, and Tanzania has no corona. So that's what the whole thing is. That's how you perceive. You perceive it as an invasive disease, or you perceive it as no disease. And why is someone affected? When you wear a mask and protective PPE garments and you still get the infection, and somebody wears no mask, meets everybody and yet no infection, you test everything, you find that he's very strong. Somebody who's a bodybuilder succumbs and dies of corona, and somebody who's a weak, frail person is happy, healthy. Why? It's unique individuality. Now, homeopathy is the only science I have known so far which recognizes the individuality of a person. I do not know of any other faculty. If you know of it, please let me know. I would like to study that. Because I believe that we study all these factors. When you take a homeopathic case, it takes me 1.5 to 2 hours with a patient, and I ask them questions right from pregnancy, their mother's pregnancy which they don't know, right up till their age, it might be 70, 90, 100. But I ask them all that. You can imagine someone telling me their whole life history of 100 years in 1.5 hours. Even if they're 10 years old, 1.5 hours is a tough time for a person to go to a stranger, sit down in front of him and tell him, I didn't like this, something happened in my childhood, my mother said this, my father said this, my teacher said this, my boss said this, my husband said this, my wife said this, my children said this, the world is saying this, see what I am. What do you think, doctor? Is it my fault? Or it's everyone's fault? What should I do? Basically, we try to, so we are not a judge. I am a homeopath, I am not a judge. I am supposed to be non-judgmental. I don't care whether you're a murderer, a prostitute, or the head of a religion, but I will treat you as my patient. There is no judgment. And when there is no judgment, I treat you as an individual, a human being with some individualization. I individualize the case and give you a remedy. So what I meant to say is that for a homeopath, he has to be free of prejudices. Let's go to the next one. So I ask a lot of questions. The problem is that when patient has a headache, when I ask him all these questions, the headache increases 100 times. Because it's a big headache to remember all this and tell you what happened at 5 years of age, what were your school bullies like, what happened when you got married. Some people don't even remember when they got married. So it's all that. It's all about, these experiences give me a glimpse into patient's nature. How do I know your nature? If you're fighting today, but that's one off. I fight only once in the year. Or am I fighting every day? So then he gives you glimpse. See, when he fights, then how does he fight? Does he argue? Does he raise his voice? Does he cry? Does he weep? Does he abuse? Or does he remain quiet and he goes into a shell? So this is an individual reaction to that person. So we have to get that information. They will, and nothing is right or wrong. Nobody is strong or weak. It is that person's reaction to whatever is happening in the world around him, or inner world also. If I get a memory, I get a happy memory, I'll be happy, positive. Some people just live in the past. Past traumatic memories continue to haunt them in spite of all the comforts around them. What can be done? Understand that. Respect that. Be aware of that. Give them the awareness. Most people saying, so the first question I ask everyone, maybe I can't, they don't open their mouth, so then I have to open my mouth and ask them, what is your nature like? You know what they say? Good. So good, bad, ugly are very bad words for a homeopath. I want to know what is good for you. And what is good, so good about you that I'm not good, but let me see what is good. What does good mean? Good marks, good relationships, good money, good house, good car. What is good? And what is not good? And everything is good, everything is alright, then why are you here? If I tell them, okay, everything is good, but then why did you have this disease? Was it immune system? Something has gone wrong somewhere, no? In the car, it might be the Mercedes or the Rolls Royce, but if it goes bad, it goes bad. Best car. So many tests. Okay? Guaranteed for 100 years, but there is a problem. Let's find out where the problem lies. That's what we do. We go to so we ask them everything. What you love to eat, what you don't like to eat, what are your dreams, how is your sleep like? Nobody has asked them these questions in their life. Okay? They, even if the husband, very often I have patients, their spouse has never asked them these questions. Spouse is unaware of what dreams they had, what are the conflicts they had in the past, what are the things they love, they don't love. So, being a doctor, you know the patient. And when you know the patient, remember there is a dynamic. The field is the patient becomes aware of him or herself. And that is the beginning of cure. Beginning of healing is awareness. Then comes the dynamic changes, the efforts taken towards cure, and ultimately cure takes place. But awareness is the key. If you know that your anger is provoked by this situation, then you get aware. You realize, okay, and then there are steps. Then the universe helps you to heal. So, we have if all those who read the Quran, we have an ayat, Va'iza maristu fahuwa yashfi, means when it is sick, it is He who cures. So doctors like me just treat, He cures. So we just give a little bit of stimulus, a little bit of push, a little bit of motivation, and then the universe takes care of everything. As is the easiest job. We don't have to guarantee anything. We just say. So I said, what is the reason? I said, I don't know. When will I get well? I don't know. And how does medicine act? I said, you will find out. And then let me know whether medicine is active or not. Because unless it acts and you tell me that I'm better, I won't know. So, that's how it is. Okay? Now, enough of talking. Let me do something else. Next one. This is you want to go to. I've already spoken a lot about this. Next. We go to the next presentation on mind. Are you bored? No questions and
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so we basically I'm an allopathic physician, right? So I give medicines. One patient has side effects from this medication, another patient does not have side effects from that medication. So is it the medicine or is it the individual?
Individual. The individual's response to any artificial drug or substance within his being is different. Some people are hypersensitive or idiosyncratic, so they react. Let's suppose some people drink warm water and get a cough. I get a cough and I drink cold water, and warm water relieves my cough. Some people like hot water fermentation, some people like cold. So you can't tell them thanda pani ka sek karo. They will say, I like warm fermentation. So I said, okay, do that. So nothing is constant and everything changes. So now when I treat that patient, afterwards you tell me, no, now I like cold. Everything changes. It's dynamic. It's not fixed. Nothing is fixed. Okay, there is nothing which is fixed except death. Okay, so just let's go to the next one. We do. Just click it outside. Yeah, click it there. Yeah, now click on that. Let's go to the. Okay. See, now everybody loves physical illness, no? Because something is seen, something is there, X-rays are there, MRI, test, everything. You get a whole report of the whole body's structure, function, everything, biochemistry, everything.
Hello?
But when it comes to the mind, what?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Excellent.
How do we know? How do we know? How do we do? What do we do when it comes to the mind? And we all said mind is the key to man. And so let's see what the mind does. So let's go ahead. Okay. People think mental diseases are just very, one day you're sick, one day you're happy, one day you're sad, one day you're anxious, one day you're positive. Nothing. It'll go. Just don't relax, be positive. Don't be corona positive, don't be HIV positive, but be positive, enjoy life. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Just by saying, if you alter a person's behavior, I would reward that person. He has some miraculous energy power by just saying you be positive and the person becomes positive. He's under depression for 10 years and he becomes positive with one word. Miracles. You can't perform these miracles because you have to understand that mental illness is a reality. It is not a phase. It is not just today is a good day, tomorrow is a bad day. That's fine. But if tomorrow is a bad day for the next 1 month, then there is something to be done. Most of the mental illnesses like depression actually present with physical disorders. Lack of appetite, lack of sleep, lack of sexual function, and body ache and headaches and many things. They won't say that I'm depressed, please do something. No, very few will say. Now awareness has spread. They know all these symptoms. They say, doctor, I got this. Am I depressed? Okay. So, and then anxiety. They're saying, how many of you are anxious in this room? One, only one, two, three, four, five, only five. Rest six. Slowly the hands are coming up. Whether I am anxious or depressed or do I have schizophrenia? How many six? So 33% of the human population in any given place is at least minimum anxious. So 33% of you all have raised your hands, the rest are lying, whatever, or more anxious. I mean minimum. Everybody, I have a lot of anxiety. I was pacing up and down, testing the mic, seeing this. I was like saying that I'll see the show myself. But that anxiety, that's a positive anxiety. Okay, it's nothing bad. But sometimes you get really anxious. What will happen? What will happen? I didn't do my COVID test. How will I board the plane? What will I do? Will I remain here? Or how will I survive? I don't have money. I don't have food. Anxiety. Will I pass the exam or not? What will happen? Will the weather change? Will the government change? What will happen to me? Nothing has happened yet, but all thoughts are there. If this goes on for a long time, it's known as generalized anxiety disorder. Depression can be acute. Somebody dies, bound to, very close member family dies. Most people, sad. That's normal. Little bit will go. Mild depression, moderate depression, severe depression. I don't want to work, I don't want to meet anyone, I don't want to eat, I don't want to drink, I don't want to talk, I don't want to do anything. Depression is the greatest cause of disability and loss of economic wealth in the world. It's not about recession, depression. Okay. As human beings, you say that why so much of losses are there in the world? Because people cannot perform. If people do not perform, how will the economy perform? Depression. Okay? So, now psychiatry. Okay, so psychiatric medicine recognizes this. But how many psychiatrists are there in the world? One psychiatrist for 10,000 people. And everybody has emotional problems. That is problems, emotional. I'm not taking the mental illness. But how can that one psychiatrist even see 1,000 patients? I've not seen 1,000 patients in my 25 years, but that's a different whole thing. But so many patients and they're all taken as normal. In third world countries like India, don't worry, you get all right, just pray, just do this, nothing goes. This is not something which will go on its own. It is like malaria or chronic osteoarthritis. Depression is as painful as a heart attack, as angina pectoris. The pain felt by a depressed patient is very high. It's like severe pain. They cannot express it because they're depressed most of the time, and when they express it, you don't understand what they're saying. You say, you look fine, you are so well, you have so much money, you have everything. What is the depression about? Where does it come from? It comes from within. Endogenous depression. It's not from outside. It's not because your bank account was stolen, or your car was stolen, or your spouse left you. That is not from out. It's from within. Let us see. So, again, homeopathy. Why? Because individual. If you go to psychiatrist, depression. Antidepressant, anxiolytic, sleeping pills, more, less. Over. 5 remedies, 5 drugs, 10 drugs in psychiatric practice which are alternative. Okay? Anxiolytics, antidepressants, mood suppressants or mood stabilizers, and you have sedatives, and you have elevators, mood elevators. Like there are these drugs which are 5 drugs predominantly. They play around with these drugs. I mean, that's what psychiatry is about. Nothing wrong, but that's what medicine, modern medicine is. When homeopathy, you have 10,000 drugs. But I know about maybe 1,000 odd. But that 10,000 to learn, because there's so many different people. I might understand you're a different person. but I can't understand what drug comes, because I have not understood a drug. I understand should you. For me that's enough. But what medicine should I give you? Till I find out what medicine to give you, I do my research. I keep doing. Or I give something which is close. You know? But that's what I'm saying. We have very unique medicines that, person with depression, why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? And what is your body's mental, physical, emotional, social reaction to the illness? Whether it's osteoarthritis or depression. But you will go to a doctor with osteoarthritis, right? But depression, why you go to a doctor? Arey yaar, this is life. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gham. You will go out. One day you become alright. But when will that one day come? After 10 years. And what do you do in the 10 years? Try to find that positivity in life. Why can't people understand mental illness? Or why can't people be aware there's something called mental wellness? Yeah.
At some point, people really are scared to go to the doctors
Yeah.
to express their feelings and what they are going through.
Of course.
Because it's like people will judge them.
It's a
like, oh,
stigma.
you're like,
It's a stigma. Arey, you are depressed. You're going to a psychic doctor or a psycho doctor you don't even know what a psychiatrist is. So there's a psychologist. You don't even know psychiatrist because psychiatrist, psychologist. Anyway, you go to a psychiatrist. He's a person who treats mad people. You got mad. Now I dread meeting you because you're mad, I'm sane. Who's insane? We don't know. So anyway, these so-called mad people can become sane and the so-called sane people are actually mad. So what we have to do is understand what is our level of mental wellness. Are we all mentally well? Can we take the fluctuations of our daily lives, our emotional fluctuations, the relationship fluctuations with ease? Do we get over them without aid, or we have to take support? And there's no harm in taking support. There's no harm in going to a doctor when you're depressed, anxious, mood disorders, schizophrenia, and mania, etc. No, it is a disease like malaria, heart disease, hypertension, etc. So don't hesitate, and if someone hesitates, please take that person to a doctor, to a mental health professional, mental wellness, a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a counselor, etc. I done this course on homeopathic psychiatry and counseling, and changed my whole perspective, because these type of things which are very commonplace, people don't have funds. Now in India, up till now I'm saying maybe 1 month earlier, there was no insurance for mental illness. If you have an endoscopy or you have a heart disease, you are paid by the insurer. But if you have depression, no money. You don't have heart disease, na? Heart disease hai, to paisa dunga. But you have depression. No, I can't see this clause. No, but now it started. Another thing is dentistry, but I'm not a dentist, so I can't comment. So dentistry and mental illness were not, but mental illness is covered now. Mental illness, autism is covered. You know what autism is? The non-medical people. You have to recognize why is your child slow, and how is the child going to be remedied, and what can we do? Is it going to be like this for the rest of his life? Can he become a responsible, independent adult, he or she? And how can we treat autism? Who treats autism? Sorry, but homeopathy treats it. I know I'm boasting, but I've seen cases recovering. Not all cases, but a significant amount of autistic people have recovered and they're leading really perfectly productive lives, independent lives. Really, it's remarkable, because again, we are treating the individual, we are not treating the disease. Everybody focuses on the disease. What do you say? The malaria ka patient hai. You will not say this is the patient who is suffering from malaria. A diabetic patient hai. वो तो heart disease का है. वो कौन है? Urinary infection. But where is the patient individuality? He is just a urinary infection case in the hospital. And what do you give him? The routine, the protocol. Where have you inquired that आपको कैसे हुआ, क्या है, what is your family background, what are you, why you come to hospital, why you not suffering in the house, why you come to hospital, पैसा क्यों खर्चने का, why you come here, why you don't want, why you want treatment, what is this thing problem which is you come for treatment. Some people say डॉक्टर मेरे को हॉलीडे पे जाना है ना जल्दी, तो मेरा टिकट बुक हो गया है, I mean I booked my ticket, I want to go for a holiday, so you know doctor just get me quick soon. Then afterwards, don't worry, afterwards we'll see the long term treatment. Or somebody say I have to go for a religious pilgrimage, I have to go, I have to do certain things, I have to earn so much money now, I need to repay my loan, doctor make me well. Everybody has a different reason to be well. They don't want to become well because wellness is good or wellness is considered something to aspire for. They want to become well for their own reasons. Okay? So think of it like that. Think of it like that. You know, why? Sorry?
Next level.
No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, we don't go through this. See, so, you know, I just want to tell you one thing. We label people. You are depressive, depression. You are a heart disease patient, you have autism, you have bipolar disorder. Once that name is put, the name stays. And if the name stays, the patient will start behaving, believing, and accepting the fact that this disorder is here to stay and there is no way out. Okay? So what do? You change the name. What do? You name, no? People name the doctor's name, no? I don't know. Even I am a doctor, I used to name first initially. What do? Anyone? Any solution? First of all, don't name. Don't name. Because if you read any textbook of medicine, bipolar disorder has no cure. There is no cure for schizophrenia. Then how do people get okay? I don't tell you homeopathy, but how do people get okay? There are spontaneous cures also. There is no cure for cancer of the pancreas, fourth stage. There is no cure. You have so many days to live. You have so many days to die. You wait. But why all this? Who decides? Why are doctors and medical profession deciding how the patient should live their lives? Okay, let's go ahead. So don't label, please don't label. You know, so labeling is very dangerous. If you label somebody as heart disease, no, and mark my words, the research is done, all the cardiologists die before their patients. So if you, that's the research, not my. Let's go to the next one. And all psychiatrists have a major psychiatric problem, but they're not aware of it. But they're very good. They do a lot. They treat very well. I'm not putting them. They treat very well, but they do suffer. Many doctors suffer from many psychiatric problems, but they can't do it. They say, doctor, आपको कैसा problem आ गया? How did you become a mental patient? How did you become insane? You have been treating for 30 years. I'm a human being. I have a problem. Yeah. Doctors have problems, they don't address it because they say, what will the patient think of me? I have heart disease, or forget the physical problem. I have this anxiety disorder, I have panic disorder. Be cool, don't say. Keep it inside. Because doctor, you can't have a problem. You can't tell the world that I have major depression and I've been having a clinic for 25 years. Who will believe you? They say, then stop practicing. No, you first treat yourself, then you treat other people. But that is how life is, okay? Remember, doctors are human beings too, and everyone is, and mental illness should be treated. Full stop. Whatever you treat, allopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, herbal medicine, anything, Tibetan medicine, do whatever you want, go to the Himalayas, meditate, but it has to be addressed and treated. Don't think it is just a mood. Okay? It is a disease. Something is happening which is preventing the person from fulfilling his potential in the world. Okay? So please remember that. Come, you go ahead. Of course, these are all the disorders, but This is more for the medicos, they know what are dissociative disorders, hysterical disorders, and what people do. Okay, we go ahead. Go ahead. We don't do this, Sexual disorders. How many of the patients, how many doctors ask the patient for the sexual history? Do they feel ashamed? Or patients are feeling embarrassed or what? Why sexual history not? You ask them appetite, sleep, everything, but why not sex? Why? Is it not important? Many problems of the mind and the body are because of sexual problems. Okay, let's go ahead. This is all the statistics. Rich people have more mental problems. Norway has the highest rate of suicide. Anyway, let's go ahead. So, these are statistics just for you to understand that it's not related to a country which is poor. Rich people have problems. The teenagers have a lot of problems. Suicides are like number, one death in certain countries. It's like Norway, depression rampant, suicides rampant. Why so many suicides in USA than homicides? It's surprising, no? People take their own life, then they take lives of others. So that's second. They have a 40 to 60% chance of dying prematurely. Don't think, depression, chalte raho, ek din mar jayenge, sab log mar jayenge. But they have hastening their death because 40 to 60% die fast. At least half of chronic depression patients will have some other disease or something or the other happening, comorbidities, and they die. But you think, no, heart disease हुआ ना, depression तो था, मगर because of heart disease the patient is no more. But why patient got heart disease? Anyone ask? No, fine, let's go. Let's go ahead. Impact, economic impact. People who are studying economics, the impact of a disease on the person, the family, the society, the world. In India, 33 psychiatrists would treat 1 lakh patients. Wow. So many doctors, so many patients, the doctors have become wealthy. They don't have, the patients don't come to the doctor. There are psychiatrists, 33, out of 1 lakh, how many come? Only 7 per 100,000. Because patients, they have very few mental, this is what I'm saying, mental health professionals are very few. But again, when you tell them,